Welcome to the Cheating Wife Stories channel. Abigail Howard sat alone at a table in a quiet restaurant, grateful for the rare solitude. Her 3 children were with her parents, giving her a moment to breathe. Frustration and disappointment weighed heavily on her. Once again, Samuel, her husband, had been called in to work over the holidays. Thanksgiving had already been a disaster, with him pulling double shifts due to the ongoing health crisis. Now, with 3 of his colleagues out sick, their family plans had fallen apart yet again. Always working, she thought bitterly. Never around when I need him. And then he complains about visiting my parents. Her brooding was interrupted by a voice. "Mind if I join you?" She looked up to see a well-dressed man with dark hair and an easy smile. "You seem like you could use some company," he said warmly. Abigail hesitated before nodding. She hadn't realized her emotions were so obvious. The man took the seat across from her and extended a hand. "Henry Vale," he introduced himself. "Abigail Howard," she responded automatically. His smile widened. Rough day. A few days later, Abigail found herself at the park, waiting for Henry. He had invited her for a walk after she had vented about Samuel's constant absence. He had listened, sympathized, and then casually suggested they meet up. She had initially resisted but eventually gave in. Now she watched as he approached her with a knowing smile. Taking her hand, he brushed his lips lightly against her knuckles. "Shall we?" he asked. She didn't pull away. Instead, she let him slip his arm through hers as they began walking together. Over the next 2 weeks, Henry slowly became a fixture in her thoughts. Their conversations grew longer, their interactions more frequent. It had started as friendly chats but shifted into something more. Flirtation, compliments, and an unspoken connection formed between them. One Saturday night, as she lounged on the couch, her phone lit up with a message from him. "Henry. Hey gorgeous, what are you up to?" Abigail. "Watching a movie." Henry. "Let me guess, he's working again." Abigail. "Yeah, as usual." Henry. "And you're handling everything alone." "He doesn't deserve you. Are you sure he's actually at work?" Abigail. "What do you mean?" Henry. "If it were me, I'd check. Just saying." Her stomach twisted as she read his words. A nagging thought took hold. Maybe she should call. An hour later, her phone rang. Samuel's name flashed on the screen. "Hey," he said, concern in his voice. "You called? What's wrong? Are the kids okay?" Hearing his worry made her feel guilty. When she had tried his office, he hadn't answered. "Everything's fine," she said quickly. "I just wanted to hear your voice, but you weren't there." He exhaled heavily. "I was handling a flight issue on the platform. My phone was in my locker." They spoke briefly before hanging up, but the unease lingered. Why had it taken so long to reach him? As the days passed, doubt began to fester alongside her discontent. 3 months later, Samuel dragged himself through airport traffic after another brutal series of night shifts. He was finally free, able to rest and spend time with his family. But instead of heading home to celebrate, he found himself alone. After yet another argument, Abigail had taken the kids to her parents' house. Their life together should have been comfortable. The house was paid off. The car fully owned. He had even set up a college fund for their children. He worked hard trying to give them security. But somehow, it was never enough. Too drained to think, he collapsed onto the bed, only to wake hours later, his stomach twisting with hunger. He decided to clear his head with a long run through the woods. 2 hours later, he returned home, showered, ate, and finally sat down to go through the mail. Most of it was junk, but one envelope stood out, cream-colored with gray trim. His gut tightened as he opened it, half expecting bad news. His breath caught in his throat as he read the words inside. It was a funeral announcement for him. "In loving memory of our former husband and cherished father, Cornelius Samuel Howard." His eyes locked onto 2 names listed on the card. Abigail Howard, Henry Vale. The world tilted. His mind raced. So this was why she had been distant, nagging, withdrawing, accusing. Shock gave way to fury, but he forced himself to stay calm. He needed clarity, not blind rage. For the next few days, Samuel kept his emotions in check. Instead of confronting her, he made a decision. He would return to Tai Chi, something he had given up years ago for Abigail. He needed a way to regain focus, to steady himself before taking action. After an intense training session, he returned home, his mind still reeling. He picked up the funeral card once more, and this time the rage surfaced fully. Enough. He powered on his computer, determined to dig into this Henry Vale. Meanwhile, miles away, Abigail kissed Henry goodbye, unaware of what Samuel had discovered. Watching from a second-floor window, Iris Davis felt her stomach drop. She had suspected her daughter was walking a dangerous line, but now she had undeniable proof. Turning to her husband, Philip, she let out a heavy sigh. If this keeps up, we're going to have a divorced daughter and 3 kids growing up without their father. Philip's face darkened. You think she's really involved with someone else? Iris nodded grimly. I need to talk to her. You'll just make it worse if you do. Philip frowned. How much pressure should we apply? Find out who this guy is, Iris said. I'll dig into his background. Philip hesitated. How far are we willing to go? His expression hardened as he made up his mind. If she's cheating, she's on her own. No help from us, no money for a divorce, no lawyer fees. But if there's a way to fix this, Iris pursed her lips. And if she leaves Samuel? Philip's voice was firm. She'll have to pay rent if she moves back here. And she'll need a job. After a pause, he added, by the way, I had them sign a prenup. If she cheats, she gets nothing. No assets, no custody. Iris's eyes widened in shock. You what? Philip exhaled. At first, I didn't trust Samuel, but I was wrong. He's a good man, and I'd hate to lose him. Back at his computer, Samuel typed Henry Vale into a search engine. Within seconds, results flooded his screen. His pulse quickened as he scrolled through Henry's public social media pages. The man had no sense of privacy. Photos of Abigail and Henry appeared, smiling, laughing, looking like a couple. Samuel clenched his jaw as he downloaded the images, capturing proof of their betrayal. Abigail had made her choice. Whether or not she had physically crossed the line, the truth was clear. She was already gone. The following morning, Samuel received a text from Abigail. Abigail, spring break is here. I'm staying at my parents' place for now. Samuel's reply was brief. Samuel, all right. I'll grieve our marriage in silence. Abigail barely glanced at the message before smirking and responding. Abigail, don't be dramatic. You'll be too busy working. It's just harmless flirting. Nothing's happened yet, but if you keep pushing me away, who knows? Samuel read the message, his jaw tightening. He didn't respond. Instead, he picked up his phone and dialed his company's legal team. Can you recommend a good family lawyer? At the Davis house, Philip and Iris entered the kitchen, their expressions tense. Abigail frowned. What's wrong? You both look exhausted. Philip spoke before Iris could. We're tired because we had to look after your kids while you were out sneaking around. Abigail's face twisted in shock. Dad, what are you talking about? I'm not sneaking around. Iris sighed. I saw you yesterday. Who is he? Abigail flushed. Can we review some details before Mr. White arrives? Samuel nodded, laying out the evidence, screenshots, messages, and the funeral card that had shattered his world. Julia listened intently, then excused herself. Outside, she leaned against the wall, blinking back tears. His story hit too close to home. Years ago, she had been the one who betrayed her husband. The guilt still haunted her. Taking a deep breath, she composed herself and returned to the office. That evening, Iris sat across from Abigail, her expression unreadable. The relationship your father and I have today wasn't easy. We had to fight through doubt and insecurity. Abigail frowned. "Why are you telling me this?" Iris exhaled. "Because what you don't know is that we were both cheaters." Abigail's eyes widened. "Not on each other," Iris clarified. "But we each destroyed our first marriages. I cheated because I was drawn to someone else. When my ex-husband found out, I made excuses, but I lost him because of it. Then I met your father. He was married. I pursued him. He left his wife for me when I got pregnant." Iris's expression darkened. "By the time I had wrecked 3 marriages, your father was broken from his divorce. It took years for us to rebuild." She leaned forward. "Trust, once shattered, never fully recovers. Even now, we still carry the scars." Abigail's stomach churned. The weight of her mother's confession pressed down on her. Iris's gaze was firm. "What are you gonna do? There's still time to fix your marriage." Abigail hesitated, then admitted, "I haven't slept with him. Not yet." Iris remained silent, her expression doubtful. Abigail sighed. "We met by chance a few months ago. I was lonely, and he paid attention to me. I thought about what it would be like. I even texted Samuel, saying I was staying here so I could figure things out." She looked away. "But it's just been kissing, touching over my clothes, nothing more." Iris nodded slowly. "What's your plan?" Abigail bit her lip. "You have 2 options," Iris said firmly. "End your marriage, or confess and fix this. If you don't, we will tell Samuel ourselves." Abigail swallowed hard, realizing the ultimatum wasn't a bluff. "He deserves the truth," Iris added. "And if this leads to a divorce, we will stand by him." Abigail's breath hitched. "I get it. You've made yourselves clear." "Good." Abigail pulled out her phone, checking their shared family calendar. An idea formed in her mind. "I promised the kids a trip to the zoo," she murmured. "Samuel has a morning shift on Saturday. I'll go home afterward, confess, and try to make things right." The next morning, as she packed for the zoo, her children buzzed with excitement. But her own thoughts raced, preparing for the difficult conversation ahead. As they piled into the car, Eva spoke up. "Mom, when are we going home to see Daddy?" Abigail frowned. "Your dad's working, sweetheart. It's no different than usual." Eva hesitated, then Noah chimed in. "Mom, we see Dad all the time. Even when he's busy, he's there. He helps with homework, makes dinner, comes to our games. But you barely talk to him." Eva's voice softened. "We know you're mad at him, but why?" Abigail stiffened. "What makes you think I'm mad?" Eva rolled her eyes. "Because we see it. You shut him out, and it's hurting him." Abigail felt her heart lurch. Eva pressed on. "And for what? Because of his job, or because of Mr. Vale?" Abigail's breath caught in her throat. "What?" "Did you know Dad has a promotion coming up?" Eva asked sharply. Abigail's stomach dropped. "What? Of course not." Eva said coldly, "You don't talk to him." Abigail's mind spun. "A promotion. We love Daddy," Eva whispered. "And so does Noah. And Tessa." Abigail blinked back tears. Noah muttered to Eva, "See, Mom's treating us the same way she treated Dad." Eva nodded grimly. And eventually, he just gave up. Abigail gripped the steering wheel tightly, unable to process the weight of her children's words. At the zoo, the kids had a fantastic time, but Abigail's mind was elsewhere. Henry's messages kept popping up on her phone, more insistent than before. Frustrated, she finally snapped and typed back, "I'm with my kids. I'll get back to you when I have a moment." After that, her phone went silent. That evening, as they returned home, Samuel's last message echoed in her mind. "All right, I'll grieve our marriage in silence." Guilt settled deep in her chest. The doorbell rang, breaking her thoughts. With a sigh, she got up to answer it. Standing on the porch was a young man in uniform, a thick envelope in his hands, and a body camera strapped to his chest. "I need to speak with Mrs. Abigail Howard," he said in a serious tone. Abigail's stomach clenched. "That's me. What's this about?" He gestured toward her ID. "I need to verify your identity first." Confused and nervous, Abigail retrieved her driver's license and handed it over. He examined it, recorded the interaction, and then handed her the envelope. "You've been served, ma'am. Have a good night." As he walked away, she heard him mutter, "Well deserved." Frozen in place, Abigail tore open the envelope and unfolded a letter. "Abigail, the way you ended our marriage was heartless. I should have known something was wrong when you started spending more time at your parents' house, avoiding me and belittling me whenever we spoke. You had already decided I wasn't worth your time. If you had been honest and told me you wanted out, we could have handled this maturely. But you chose deception instead. I am requesting paternity tests for our children. The prenuptial agreement your father insisted on will be fully enforced. I even did something I swore I'd never do. I made a Facebook account. Your lover made sure to document everything. Be sure to thank him for that. You are no longer welcome in my home. The locks have been changed. You may retrieve your belongings by coordinating with one of your parents. I want no direct contact with you. Your joke about burying our marriage was humiliating. If the children are mine, we need to discuss their future. Samuel." Abigail let out a choked cry. Philip entered the room, his expression hardened. "Henry Vale. Easy to track. He's left a trail of broken marriages, and now you're just another name on that list." His voice dripped with contempt. "He enjoys ruining lives, Abigail, and you let him." He slammed a folder onto the table. "I also found out what he makes. His salary is half of Samuel's, even without Samuel's hazard pay. And yet you believed him when he said Samuel's income wasn't enough." Abigail felt her stomach churn. Philip stopped short when he saw her trembling, his gaze shifting to the divorce papers in her hands. Iris walked in, catching sight of the documents. No, this can't be happening." Philip picked up Samuel's letter and read it aloud. Iris's face twisted in anger. "Abigail, what have you done?" she demanded, her voice shaking. I didn't do anything," Abigail stammered. "I never told Samuel I wanted a divorce. I don't want a divorce. I was going to talk to him tomorrow, confess everything, and beg him to forgive me." She collapsed into a chair, pale and shaken. Then suddenly, her expression shifted. Determined, she straightened. "No matter what Samuel wrote, I'll talk to him tomorrow. I was cruel, I know, but I never asked for a divorce, and I never joked about burying our marriage." Philip and Iris exchanged a knowing glance. They'd known Samuel for years. If he had gone to this extent, Abigail wouldn't be able to fix things alone. "We need a plan," Philip said firmly. "If you go in alone, Abigail, you won't stand a chance." Meanwhile, Samuel cycled home, his thoughts clouded by the wreckage of his marriage. The legal papers had been delivered. There was no turning back now. A single tear slipped down his cheek, but he quickly wiped it away. As he neared his house, he took a path behind it, unaware of the figure waiting on his porch. After arriving, he changed into a tracksuit, intent on clearing his mind. He was about to check his mail when he noticed someone sitting outside. Opening the door, he found Iris shivering on the steps. "Samuel," she said through chattering teeth. "Can I come in? I need the restroom. I'm freezing." Samuel hesitated before stepping aside. "Come in." After using the bathroom, she emerged looking more composed. Samuel led her upstairs, drawing a warm bath for her. "Can you manage?" he asked. "I'll try," Iris murmured. "Call me if you need anything." "I will," Iris said, already walking away. "I'll find you something warm to wear," Samuel added. As she sank into the water, tension started to ease. Her mind wandered to Samuel, how he had helped her inside, carried her up the stairs. Despite everything, he still had a good heart. Then a thought hit her. "I have a mission to complete." Once dry, She dressed in the clothes Samuel had left for her, his own slightly oversized but comforting. She smiled faintly at the gesture. Downstairs, she found him in the living room. A laptop was open beside several damning photos and a beige envelope. Samuel's voice was steady but cold. "Why didn't you wait in the car? Why sit outside and freeze?" Iris met his eyes. "Because I knew you'd shut the door in my face before I had a chance to speak." Samuel exhaled. "So you figured if you were inside, I have no choice but to listen." She nodded. "That was the idea." Samuel leaned back. "Here's the truth. Abigail was frustrated with my schedule. She wasn't wrong. But if she had just talked to me, if she had shown patience, she would still be married. And not just to me, but to the head of my department. No more night shifts, only one weekend shift a month, and a raise. Every time I tried to tell her, she shut me out." Iris stiffened. "This changed everything. I have to fix this." She studied Samuel, seeing the barely contained fury behind his calm demeanor. "Samuel," she said carefully, "those photos, was that the breaking point? Is that why you filed?" He didn't answer. Instead, he handed her the beige envelope. As Iris unfolded the letter, she felt the weight of his pain. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I'm so sorry. We didn't raise her this way. This is beyond disrespect." She trembled. "When I get back, I'm slapping her." Another coughing fit seized her. Samuel rushed, pressing his hand to her neck to check her temperature. "You've got a fever," he said. "Lie down. I'm calling a doctor." Before she could protest, he lifted her up and carried her upstairs. Samuel searched for the thermometer Abigail had insisted they buy and checked Iris's temperature. 104 degrees Fahrenheit, he muttered. He called the clinic, explaining her symptoms. They agreed to send a doctor right away since they were nearby. 15 minutes later, a young woman entered, introducing herself as Dr. Mukherjee. Samuel raised an eyebrow. She seemed around his age, maybe 39 at most. "Can you step outside for a moment? I need to examine her," the doctor said. Before Samuel could respond, Iris rasped, "No, he stays." The doctor hesitated but agreed. "All right. Samuel, I need your help lifting her shirt to check her lungs." Samuel left the room for a minute, returning with a sleeping bag to keep Iris warm while the doctor worked. As he helped lift her, he couldn't shake the resemblance to Abigail, and a deep sadness hit him. "I always thought I'd grow old with her." After the exam, Dr. Mukherjee said, "Acute pneumonia. She needs more tests. But for now, I'll prescribe meds." Iris stiffened. "No hospital, just give me the meds." Within minutes, Samuel was out the door to get the prescriptions. When he returned, the doctor promised to check in again tomorrow. Samuel called the Davis house. Abigail answered, her heart racing. "Hey Samuel, you're calling late. I need Philip." "Wake him up if you have to," he replied coldly. Abigail passed the phone to Philip, who soon replied, "I'll be there in 3 hours. I need to pack." He turned to Abigail. "Mom's sick with pneumonia." Samuel arranged everything. "I'll bring her clothes, then take care of her tomorrow when Samuel works." Abigail's eyes widened. "I'm coming with you." Philip shook his head. "You can't. First, the kids need you. Second, he doesn't want you in the house." Abigail's chest tightened. "But it's my home too." Philip's voice was firm. "No, it's not. It was his before you married. The prenup says you're separated once divorce papers are filed." Tears welled in Abigail's eyes. Philip sighed. "I'll help you pack." After Philip left, Abigail sat, trying to process. Her marriage was falling apart, and she couldn't pinpoint the moment it all changed. Though Henry had definitely pushed her further away from Samuel, she realized her actions had already destroyed her marriage, even if she hadn't slept with Henry. But how had Samuel found out? She didn't know, but she knew she had to cut ties with Henry. Before sending a message to him, she hesitated. Her parents were still at Samuel's house. Maybe they could help her understand why Samuel had taken this step. She'd wait. Philip arrived at Samuel's house and checked on Iris, relieved to find she was slightly better. Afterwards, he found a card on the dining table, his breath catching as he picked it up. He called Abigail immediately. "I'm sending you a photo of what I found. I want an explanation." There was silence. Then Philip added, "Your mom is stable. The doctor will check on her in the morning." Abigail opened the photo. It was a funeral card. "Now I get it. This is how Samuel found out." Her fingers clenched. Henry did this. She realized how naive she'd been, allowing Henry to manipulate her. She loved Samuel, always had. But now, with the card, her marriage steamed over. She called Philip. "I had nothing to do with that card. I never agreed to it." Philip's voice was harsh. "You should have known better." She listened in silence, knowing he was right. Henry finally got the call he'd been waiting for. "Glad you called," he said smoothly. "How are you?" Abigail's voice was icy. "Not great. My parents know about us, and my mom's sick with pneumonia." Henry barely reacted. "Pneumonia? How'd she get that?" "She was wet and cold, waiting for someone to come home." Henry smirked. "Perfect," he thought. "That's not why I called," Abigail continued. "I need to see you." His pulse quickened. "Of course. Wednesday good?" "No. Meet me at Maggie's Grill at noon." Henry grinned. Everything was falling into place. Meanwhile, Iris's fever finally broke. She was weak but determined to fight the divorce. She told Samuel, "This is between you and Abigail, but she hasn't tried to reach out to you. And you haven't seen the kids." Samuel's face darkened. "That's her choice." Philip sighed. "You were working hard, but when everything fell apart, she turned to another man." Samuel's voice cracked. "I tried, but she cheated. I can't live with that." Iris winced. Samuel's voice lowered. "We promised to care for each other through good times and bad." Philip and Iris exchanged a look. They'd both been unfaithful, but now their daughter had followed suit. Iris tried again. "Abigail says they didn't sleep together." Samuel laughed bitterly. "So that makes it okay. The way she treated me these last few months." Iris flinched. "That's not what I meant." Philip sighed. "Give yourself time. Cool down and look inside yourself." Samuel exhaled sharply. "Abigail will disagree," he muttered. Philip replied quickly. "She knows Vale sent that card. She was terrified. She never meant to leave you." Samuel scoffed. "So I'm good enough to provide. But when it's about fun, she needed someone else." Iris bristled. "Now you're being unreasonable." Samuel's anger flared, but he worked to control it. Philip and Iris exchanged worried glances, fearing he might snap. Samuel's voice cracked. "For months, I couldn't do anything right. Then I find out she's with another man. And now I might lose my kids. She's probably turned them against me." Philip nodded. "We'll see what she told them." Samuel frowned. "What do you mean?" Philip stood up. "Let's find out." Samuel gave Philip a skeptical look, but before he could object, Iris jumped in. "Put her on speaker. I'll know if she's lying. Tell her Samuel's listening. If she lies, her marriage is over. Only the truth will do." Philip nodded and called Abigail. She answered quickly. "Hey, Dad, how's Mom?" Iris spoke first. "Better. The fever's down, but I'm still weak." She paused. "By the way, Samuel's listening. We have some questions for you." Abigail's heart skipped a beat, a glimmer of hope flashing inside her. "Samuel, I love you. I was so stupid. I'm so sorry." Abigail's voice cracked. Samuel stayed silent, but Iris saw the tear forming in his eye. He's still angry, she thought, but he still loves her. There's hope. Philip interrupted. "What did you tell the kids about the divorce?" Abigail's voice wavered. "When we were driving to the zoo, Ava asked when we were going home because they missed Samuel. I snapped and said, 'What does it matter?' He's never home anyway. A sigh. Then Noah talked some sense into me. They both took your side, Samuel. You know how hard it is when two teenagers gang up on you. I lost it, threatened to take them home early, and then Ava tore my soul out. She sniffled. She turned to Noah and said, "See, she did the same thing to Dad. Every time he wanted to talk to her, she made him give up." A sob broke through her voice. "Mom, after you talked to me, I knew I was wrong. But hearing Ava say that, that's when I realized how badly I messed up. I haven't even told them about the divorce yet, but they already know. They know I ruined it. I destroyed my marriage like a spoiled child, and now I don't know how to fix it." The silence was heavy. Finally, Iris spoke. "Abigail, what's your plan with the kids? Samuel misses them." Samuel shot Iris a look. "What are you doing?" he whispered. Iris smiled knowingly. "I'm bringing them home where they belong. Trust me." Samuel frowned but said nothing. She turned back to the phone. "Any ideas, Abigail? The kids need their father, their school, their friends. Keeping them from him only hurts them." Abigail hesitated. "I can bring them to Samuel, but they can't stay long. He works too much." Iris glanced at Samuel. "Then Samuel needs a nanny, or maybe their mother to take care of them when he's not around." Samuel's jaw clenched. He hated being cornered. After a long pause, Samuel muttered, "I don't like it, but I'll think about it." The call ended, and Samuel turned to Iris, sarcasm in his voice. "Ready to leave, if you feel well enough." Philip and Iris were caught off guard. "You want us to leave now?" Iris asked. Samuel's tone was firm. "Tomorrow morning. You've overstayed your welcome. I won't be blackmailed, even if my kids are the bait." A wave of regret washed over Iris, and tears welled up. She broke down. "No, Samuel, please," she sobbed. "I never meant to blackmail you. I wanted you to spend time with Ava, Noah, and Tessa while Abigail fixed things." Her sobs turned into coughing. Philip hugged her tightly, eyes pleading with Samuel. Samuel was shaken, surprised by her reaction. "I'll think about it," he said quietly, "but your pressure isn't helping." He sighed. "Tomorrow's my last shift. I need to finish work before the new job. Take the keys. I'll let you know what I decide." That night, Samuel couldn't sleep. At 4:30 a.m., he gave up, made coffee, and packed his lunch. His mind churned with conflicting emotions. Just as he sat down, he heard soft footsteps behind him. Iris appeared, looking exhausted. "What are you doing up?" "You look terrible," Samuel said. "I couldn't sleep. I put too much pressure on you for something selfish. Now I realize it," Iris said. Samuel exhaled. "You made me look in the mirror, Iris, and I realized I have to try. Walking away without trying would be as stupid as what Abigail did." Iris blinked. "Samuel, what do you mean?" "It's bad. I'm furious, but I have to try. I can't just walk away." Iris's breath caught. Samuel held up a hand. "But don't tell her. Divorce papers aren't easy to undo. When you get home, give Abigail the keys. She can come back after the holidays." Iris nodded, tears falling. "I need to see my kids. For now she stays in the spare room," Samuel said. Iris hugged him tightly. "She has no idea how lucky she is," she whispered. "But I'll tell her." Samuel gave a sad smile. "Go now or I'll be late for my shift." At Maggie's Grill, Henry walked in confidently and found Abigail at a secluded table. "She's probably worried I found out about the card," he thought smugly. He approached her, leaned in, and whispered, "You're beautiful, you know." Abigail didn't flinch. She looked at him coldly. "We'll have lunch. After, we'll talk in the park." Henry narrowed his eyes. "I don't like how you're talking to me." "Tough luck," she replied. "Now you know what my husband endured for months." They ate in silence. Henry plotted how to regain control. He wanted Abigail. She was a challenge, and he wasn't letting her slip away. Abigail, however, had a different plan. When Iris and Philip returned home, they discussed everything. Iris still felt guilty for pressuring Samuel, but then Abigail revealed her plan to confront Henry not as a lover, but as an opponent. She wanted to make him pay for what he did to her marriage. Philip and Iris didn't approve, but Abigail was determined. Philip handed her a small recorder. If Samuel finds out you met with him after he let you back, you'll need proof of what really happened. At lunch's end, Abigail stood, grabbed her jacket, and walked out, leaving Henry to pay the bill. Henry, frustrated, paid quickly and chased after her, catching up just outside. Abigail had a plan. Leaving without paying wasn't just a power move. It gave her time to activate the recorder. If it made him mad, even better. He snapped, "What's wrong with you? You can't just walk out like that." Abigail didn't flinch. "How did I not see this before?" In the park, she sat on a bench, waiting. Henry leaned in, his touch possessive. "Don't touch me." Abigail pulled out a printout and shoved it toward him. "Explain this." Henry barely glanced at it. "Your marriage was dead for months. I forced him to accept it. I showed him who the new man is." "And who told you that?" She shot back coldly. "I never said that." Henry faltered but quickly recovered. "Abigail, we knew this was coming." Abigail took a breath, then said, "I needed comfort, not a broken marriage. This ends today. I'm saving my marriage, which you almost destroyed." Henry's tone turned sweetly mocking. "Oh no, you're not getting off that easy. Your marriage is hanging by a thread. You'll do exactly what I want, or I'll cut it myself. I'll tell Samuel where you were today." Abigail sneered. "Blackmail, is that your thing?" He smirked. "Call it whatever you want. If you want your marriage, you'll satisfy me. When I'm done, maybe I'll let you keep your family." Abigail's disgust grew. Does he really think Samuel won't find out? She glanced around. The bench was in view of the security camera. Henry thought her silence meant submission. He leaned closer, eyes drinking her in. Abigail shoved him back and sprayed him with pepper spray. He howled, stumbling forward, still blinded. "You'll pay for this," he shrieked, raising his fist. Abigail sprayed again, this time directly in his eyes. At that moment, she drove her knee sharply into Henry's groin. He dropped to the ground, gasping in pain, before she followed up with a solid knee to his face, sending him sprawling. Henry moaned, clutching his face and groan, his eyes tearing up from the combined pain and spray. Abigail smirked, feeling the rush from the self-defense training Samuel had taught her. What did he always say? She muttered to herself. "Fight dirty when you're outmatched." She looked at Henry and sneered. "Now we're on equal footing. Stay away, or next time you won't get up." She walked to the ice cream stand, where the owner handed her a cup of tea. "That was something else," the owner said, impressed. Abigail smiled. "Thanks. Can I get a copy of that security footage, just in case he tries to twist this around?" The woman nodded. "It's on a flash drive. It's yours if you cover the cost." Abigail handed over a 20. "Is this enough?" The woman slid 10 back. "Tease on me. You might have just saved your marriage." Abigail chuckled softly. "I hope so." Shaken by the adrenaline, she pocketed the flash drive and walked home. Thursday afternoon, Samuel biked home, singing to himself, "Weekend. One long, great weekend, and many more to come." His new job was off to a solid start. The team was relieved to have a capable manager. After a few initial adjustments, he had gotten the department running smoothly, even offering career advice to a couple of employees. With the weekend ahead, he looked forward to seeing his kids. Abigail would be back too, but he'd accepted that if she wanted to fix things, she'd need to take the first step. At home, he changed into casual clothes and began preparing dinner. While it cooked, he tidied the house, enjoying the routine. Then the doorbell rang. 2 uniformed police officers stood outside. "Good afternoon, Mr. Samuel Howard," one asked. "Yes, that's me," Samuel replied warily. "Is everything okay with my wife or kids?" "No, sir," the officer said. "We're here to arrest you for felony attack on Henryville." Samuel blinked in disbelief. "What?" "We need you to come to the station for questioning," the officer continued. "Do I have a minute?" "My dinner's still cooking," Samuel asked, trying to stay calm. "You have 5 minutes," the officer said. Samuel quickly called Philip. "Philip, I'm being arrested for attacking Vale. I need help." "What? Where are they taking you?" "The station," Samuel replied. "I don't know which one." "I'll figure something out," Philip said before hanging up. Just then, Abigail entered the room, her face pale. "That was Samuel, right? What's going on?" "Samuel's been arrested," Philip said, still processing it. Abigail's expression turned grim. "No, it was me. Vale tried to blackmail me, then he tried to force himself on me. I fought back, using some of Samuel's self-defense moves, and now he's trying to blame Samuel." Philip shook his head. "Can you prove it?" "I have the recorder you gave me, and the CCTV footage from the ice cream stand. I'm going to report him for maltreatment." "And Samuel?" Philip asked. "Henry's obviously lying. Let's hope the police listen." At the police station, Samuel went through standard processing. Fingerprints, photos, DNA samples, his frustration mounting with each step. Finally, he was seated in front of a detective who eyed him like prey. "So what's your side?" The detective growled. Samuel, already on edge, shot back. "Can I quote the Bible to you, or do I get a lawyer first?" The detective scowled. "One more question. Do you have an alibi?" Samuel chuckled. A sharp, mocking laugh. "An alibi for what? You're interrogating me without a lawyer. Isn't that a violation?" The detective sneered. "Tell me why you attacked Henry Vale." Samuel froze. "Your friend," he said, realizing the detective's mistake. The detective's face hardened. "You know who you're dealing with." Samuel leaned in, his voice low and controlled. "Oh, I do. I just can't say it out loud. Wouldn't want to insult a police officer, right?" The detective slammed his fist on the table. "Take him to a cell." Hours later, Samuel was let out, disoriented and exhausted. He saw Julia Lawson and Frank, his lawyers, arguing with the sheriff. Abigail sat nearby, looking just as frustrated. "Are we done?" The sheriff snapped as Frank stepped forward. "Not by a long shot," Frank said, crossing his arms. "First, erase Samuel's arrest record. Second, this woman," he gestured at Abigail, "has proof Henry Vale is lying. She's filing charges. And third, my clients will be filing complaints about your officers." The sheriff clenched his teeth, knowing Frank's reputation all too well. "Fine." He spat. The arrest record was expunged, and by the time Abigail drove Samuel home, it was late. Before Samuel got out of the car, Abigail hesitated. "I know I don't deserve this, but I didn't send that card. I didn't sleep with him. And I don't want a divorce." Samuel didn't answer immediately, still processing her words. Finally, she asked, "When do you want to see the kids?" Samuel sighed, his exhaustion evident. "I can't let you drive back tonight. Stay in the spare room. The kids need both of us. Tomorrow we'll go get them together. We'll talk on the way." Abigail felt a mix of relief and nervousness. "I'd like that," she said softly. "I'm exhausted, though, and hungry." "I'll make something quick," Samuel replied. As they ate, the conversation turned to the kids. Abigail confessed how even Ava and Noah had noticed her coldness toward Samuel. "If 2 teenagers can see how badly I treated you, it must have been really bad," she admitted. Samuel nodded. "It was bad." After the meal, Abigail sighed. "I'm going to bed. See you tomorrow," she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can I have a good-night kiss?" Samuel looked at her, taken aback. "Abigail, why now? For months, you barely spoke to me, and now you want to kiss me. I sent you divorce papers." Abigail opened her mouth, but Samuel stopped her. "No, we'll talk tomorrow. I'm too tired, too emotional to do this now," he exhaled. "For now, I'm having a drink. You can join me if you want. We'll talk about the kids." Abigail nodded, looking down at her wedding ring, tears brimming. "Are you drinking Dutch gin?" "I'll have one too." They drank in silence, Abigail filling Samuel in on how the kids had scolded her on the zoo trip. She didn't hold back. "If they saw how I treated you, it must have been bad." "It was bad," Samuel said simply. The silence stretched on. Finally, Abigail stood. "I'm going to bed." The next morning, Abigail found herself alone in the kitchen. She poured a cup of coffee, then noticed someone had already made it. Her oatmeal, prepared with soy milk, was sitting in the microwave, waiting to be heated. It was a small, simple thing, but it almost broke her. He still did this for me. An hour later, Samuel came in from his run, sweaty and silent. As he walked past her, Abigail caught sight of bruises on his torso and noticed how his body had changed. Leaner, but stronger, more defined than before. A sudden heat rushed through her. It had been months. "Tai Chi again?" she asked, trying to sound casual. Samuel glanced down at his body. "I shouldn't have stopped. You look good," she admitted. "You've really changed." Samuel's expression darkened. "You have no idea how much I've changed." The silence stretched out until he finally spoke. "I'm going to shower. We can talk after." On the drive to her parents' house, Samuel broke the silence. "Why were you at the police station yesterday?" Abigail sighed. "I'm the one who kicked Henry. I pepper-sprayed him, broke his nose. I didn't want you taking the blame for something I did." Samuel smirked. "You broke his nose?" "Yeah." Abigail grinned. "And he screamed." Samuel's expression shifted, more serious now. "Were you going to take full responsibility for his accusations?" Abigail shook her head. "No, he tried to attack me. I'm filing a complaint, and your lawyer's going to help. Everything Dad dug up on Vale is going to make his life hell." Samuel's smile was grim. Nothing better could happen to that fool. A moment passed before Abigail spoke again, her voice barely a whisper. "What about us?" Samuel's grip tightened on the wheel, his voice flat. "What do you mean? I know I treated you horribly. I was stupid, selfish. I forgot how hard you worked for us. For our family." Samuel's voice was tight with emotion. "If you were so unhappy, why didn't you talk to me? Did I seem unapproachable? I spent months wondering what went wrong." Abigail's eyes filled with tears. "No, Samuel, you didn't do anything wrong." Samuel laughed bitterly. "I worked too long, too hard. Maybe I could have pushed back against my boss more, but you knew why I did it. I was working for a better future for us, and now it cost me my marriage." "No," Abigail said quickly. "Let me tell you where I went wrong. Let me explain everything." Samuel glanced at her, seeing the pain in her eyes, but said nothing. She took a breath and started to speak, her voice shaking. "I got frustrated with how much you worked. Those long hours, especially the evening shifts, left me alone with the kids. I was doing everything alone. Then one of my friends made a joke, called me Abigail the Fool, doing all the housework while you worked. That's when it hit me. I started feeling like a fool." She wiped away a tear. "What they didn't see was me staying up late with the kids, going to bed alone. When the pandemic hit, it only got worse. You worked all the time, even on holidays. When you told me you had to work Thanksgiving, I just snapped. I left the kids with my parents and tried to distract myself." Samuel nodded. "Yeah, I should have known better than to leave you hanging." Abigail looked down, barely above a whisper. "Henry grabbed me once. It didn't go further, but it was close. If my mom hadn't caught us, I don't even know what would have happened. Samuel's hands tightened on the wheel. Abigail reached out, touching his sleeve gently. Samuel, I swear I'll do anything to fix this. I want to be the woman you deserve. I know I've done things I'll regret forever, but I want to change. I've already started looking for a counselor, something I should have done a long time ago. Samuel's surprise was clear. Who told you that? Abigail hesitated. Ava and Noah. They told me I was crazy for treating you like this, and that I needed to get my head checked. And they were right. Paul exhaled. No, wait. Correct that. Samuel exhaled, his voice steady but heavy. Okay, but now I need to know. What do you want? Abigail blinked, surprised by his directness. Do I really need to answer that? Yes, you do. I'm not assuming anything. You treated me like garbage. You practically cheated on me. And if you hadn't been caught, you would have ended up with him. So tell me, Abigail, what do you want? And what do you expect from me? Abigail swallowed hard. He was right. He had every reason to be blunt. She took a breath. I want to be your wife forever. I want to be part of our family again. I want the man I lost when I lost myself. I want us back. The words hung in the air, but Samuel's dry laugh cut through the silence. Abigail, that's not going to happen. Her stomach dropped. I don't want a divorce. But if you think my behavior was unforgivable, if you want one, I won't fight you. But please know that the card wasn't my idea. I would never have let Henry send it. Samuel's tone softened slightly. That's not what I meant. Confused, Abigail asked, Then what did you mean? Samuel let out a long breath. I've thought about this a lot. Yes, I worked too much. Yes, I neglected you, but I also gave everything to you. I crossed my own boundaries to give you what you wanted, but it still wasn't enough. He paused. I've changed. I got a promotion. I work fewer hours now, 4 days a week, with 1 weekend shift a month. No more evenings, no more night shifts. But the man you left behind, he's gone, and I'm not going back to who I was. Abigail blinked. You got a promotion. Yeah, Samuel said, the edge in his voice clear. I tried to tell you, but you weren't listening. You found comfort in someone else instead of trusting me. I wasn't enough anymore. Her heart twisted. I was awful to you. I was stupid. Samuel stayed quiet for a while before speaking again. I made a vow. For better or worse, until death do us part, I swore to love and respect you. He looked at her briefly. That's the hard part. I don't take that vow lightly, unlike the woman I once loved with all my heart. Abigail's eyes filled with tears. I don't want a divorce. I want to try. Samuel sighed, his voice steady. If that's what you want. Abigail had been bracing for the worst. Divorce, the prenuptial agreement leaving her with nothing, her life unraveling because of her own mistakes. But now, suddenly, she had a chance. The shift was so unexpected, she couldn't quite process it. Relief flooded her, so overwhelming that she instinctively reached for Samuel's hand. The car swerved sharply. Careful. Samuel barked, gripping the wheel as he regained control. The tires screeched, veering into the opposite lane before he steadied the vehicle. Fortunately, the road was empty. Abigail let out a shaky laugh. Just like our marriage, I need my husband to get me back on track. She turned to him, eyes shining. You won't regret this, Samuel. I swear. Don't assume anything. His voice was firm. I'm not going into this blind. There will be rules, and you may not like them. We'll discuss them with your parents. My parents. Why? Because they're already involved. Your mom pushed hard for me to give you another chance. When I agreed to think about it, she backed me into a corner, manipulating the situation. I was furious. Abigail exhaled, realization dawning. That's why they left early. She lowered her gaze. I'm sorry. The rest of the drive was quiet, the radio playing softly in the background. When they arrived, the front door flew open before Samuel had even unbuckled. "Dad." Ava ran toward him, calling over her shoulder, "Noah, Tessa, Daddy's here." She threw herself into his arms. Noah followed, nearly tackling him. Tessa, the smallest, wrapped herself around his leg, beaming. Samuel hugged them tightly, inhaling the familiar scent of his children. He had missed this more than he had allowed himself to admit. Inside, they gathered in the living room. Before Samuel could say a word, Noah blurted, "Does this mean you aren't divorcing, Mom?" Silence. The four adults froze. "What?" they all exclaimed in unison. Ava crossed her arms. "Come on, you think we're stupid. Mom ignored Dad for months. Then suddenly we're living here, and we have to call some guy Uncle Henry. We figured it out." A heavy tension filled the room. Abigail swallowed hard, turning to her children. "Yes, I was very stupid," she admitted. "Your father and I have a lot to talk about, and I hope I can convince him that I've learned my lesson." She looked at Ava and Noah. "And you two were part of what made me realize that." She pulled them into a hug. "Please, forgive me and help me fix this." That afternoon, with Tessa playing at a neighbor's house and Ava and Noah upstairs, the four adults sat at the dining table. Samuel ran a hand through his hair. "It's time to talk." Abigail hesitated. "Can I start?" Samuel gestured for her to go ahead. She took a deep breath. "I could say I'm sorry 1,000,000 times, but it wouldn't be enough. So I'll say it once. I'm sorry, and I will do everything I can to earn back your trust. I want to be the woman I used to be before I threw everything away." Samuel's expression remained unreadable. "I already told you this in the car, but I'll say it again here in front of your parents. That won't happen." Philip and Iris tensed. Samuel's tone was firm. "I won't bend over backward to meet your every need anymore. I did that for years, and I won't do it again. In other words, the man sitting across from you is not the same man you left behind." Iris hesitated. "Does that mean you're leaving?" "No." Samuel's response was immediate. "I'll try to save our marriage, but Abigail has to earn my heart back. A lot of love was burned because of what she did. There's still something left. But right now, I'm doing this because I made a vow, and for the kids." Abigail lowered her gaze. This Samuel was different, direct, unyielding, firm in his boundaries. Could she make this version of him love her again? Samuel exhaled. "The divorce will be final in 5 months. We'll see where we stand then. If we both want to keep trying, we'll stop the process. If not, I won't fight it. You might want to get a lawyer." Philip and Iris exchanged stunned looks. Abigail felt her chest tighten. He was serious. "Now about logistics," Samuel continued. "I work 4 days a week, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., plus 1 weekend shift a month. No overtime. I'll always be home by 5:30. Then he delivered the hardest part. "For now, you'll stay in the guest room until we decide if we're a couple again. If we do." Abigail flinched but nodded. Samuel kept going. "I'm keeping the changes I made while you were gone. Tai Chi workouts, structure. The kids are learning too. They need to know how to defend themselves." Abigail felt a flicker of relief. At least they were staying in the same house. Samuel leaned forward. "I'll put in real effort. But if I see you pulling away again, we're done. No discussion. You'll go back to your parents." Abigail bit her lip, then took a steadying breath. "Samuel," she said carefully, "you are very dear to me. Even if I know it's hard for you to believe that right now. But after Mom, Dad, Ava, and Noah nearly tore my head off, I realized how blind I was." She held his gaze. "I promise I'll work as hard as you do, maybe harder, because I have more to fix." Her voice softened. "And Samuel, thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance to prove that I can be the wife I promised to be in our vows." Samuel looked into her tear-filled eyes, searching for something. Whatever he found made him nod. "Okay," he said finally. Let's start rebuilding. Call the kids. We're going home." That evening, after settling in, they sat on opposite ends of the couch. Samuel stretched. "Anything you want to do with the kids this weekend?" Abigail perked up. "Wait, you're off." Samuel smirked. "Better get used to it. I work 4 days a week now. Think about it." Abigail hesitated, then smiled. "A picnic by the lake. Maybe rent a canoe." "Sounds good," Samuel nodded. "Oh, and one more thing," she added. "Let's make a deal." Samuel raised a brow. "What kind of deal?" "That we never leave without saying goodbye. And when someone comes home, we always say hello. No more silent treatments, no more avoidance." Samuel exhaled. "Agreed." Abigail stepped closer. Without hesitation, she leaned in and kissed him softly. "Thank you for giving me another chance," she whispered. "I love you. Good night." Samuel stood frozen as she walked upstairs. His eyes traced her for a second before he sighed and shook his head. Months later, Samuel took the kids away for a Tai Chi weekend, while Abigail stayed behind with her parents. Sitting outside an ice cream shop, she caught up with Iris. Vale got 6 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Abigail said, "Restraining order too. He can never contact us again." Iris sighed in relief. "Good. And you and Samuel?" Abigail hesitated. "I don't know. Things are calm. But no hugs, no kisses. It's like a platonic marriage now." "I don't know what to do." Iris frowned. "Nothing at all." Abigail blushed. "He responds physically. Last week, I hugged him. And, well, let's just say I could tell. But then he patted my shoulder and walked away." Iris raised a brow. "And what are you going to do about that?" Abigail exhaled. "I don't know, but I do know this. I'm not giving up on my husband." Iris studied her daughter for a moment before smiling knowingly. "Abigail, I think you're looking at this all wrong." Abigail frowned. "What do you mean?" "You're waiting for Samuel to make a move, right? To take charge again." Abigail lowered her gaze and whispered, "Yes." Iris smirked. "What if Samuel sees it differently? What if in his mind, you're the one who pushed him away? Maybe now it's your turn to prove that you still want him." Abigail's eyes widened. "You really think so?" "Oh, absolutely." Iris grinned. "If I were you, I'd rip his pants off." Abigail burst out laughing, her face burning. "Mom, I'm serious." Iris winked. "We're going shopping. Now." Abigail hesitated. "Shopping?" "Yes. The kids are staying with us next weekend. You and Samuel will have the house to yourselves." Abigail bit her lip, intrigued. "Okay. So what's the plan?" Iris leaned in, voice low. "Start slow. Monday, wake up early and have breakfast ready when he comes downstairs." Abigail made a face. "He wakes up at 4:45 a.m. "Then so do you," Iris said firmly. "Tell him you want to adjust before your new job starts. Make it normal for him to see you first thing in the morning." Abigail nodded slowly. "All right. And then, Friday night." Iris smirked. "You seduce your husband. Make his favorite dinner. Sushi. Feed him with chopsticks. But when he takes the third bite, hold the next piece between your lips." Abigail's eyes widened. "Oh, I like that." Iris grinned. "Then once you have him hooked, reel him in." Abigail's excitement replaced her doubt. "Samuel doesn't stand a chance." Iris chuckled. Abigail's heart pounded. "I will win my husband back." Samuel was getting used to having breakfast with Abigail every morning, and to his surprise, he liked it. But when he walked into the kitchen, his jaw nearly hit the floor. Abigail stood there in a silky, form-fitting dress that shimmered under the light. It hugged her curves in all the right places, hinting at what lay beneath. Stockings graced her legs, and oddly enough, she wore cozy slippers, a contrast that made her even more irresistible. "You look amazing," Samuel murmured. "What's the occasion?" "You're the occasion." She smiled. Consider this a preview of what's coming this weekend. The kids will be with my parents, and I will be coming for you. Samuel's brain short-circuited, heat rushing through his body. This is happening. Yes, she whispered. I want to go back to bed with the man I love. The man I love even more after everything you've done for me. After my stupidity and selfishness, I want the man I married back. But even more than that, I want the man you've become. She stepped forward and kissed him softly. His mind raced. Was this real? A setup? It had been so long since she looked at him like this. He wanted her. God, did he want her? But it wasn't just about desire. It was about trust. Before he could react, she kissed him again. Quick, teasing. Then, with a playful smirk, stepped back. I need to change before the kids wake up, she teased. Samuel rode to work in a daze, his thoughts tangled, emotions all over the place. He needed to think. At work, he sent her a message. I'll be home late. Need to clear my head. Going for a run in the woods after work. See you at 10:30. Abigail frowned at the text. Had she pushed too hard? She had told him her plans in advance, hoping to ease him into the idea rather than surprise him. But maybe even that was too much. Later, when Samuel was getting ready for his run, Abigail found him in the doorway. She wanted to tell him she loved him, to say she regretted everything. She just watched him. He looked so good, broad shoulders, lean waist, streaks of gray at his temples that somehow made him more attractive. Tai Chi had changed him. He was leaner, stronger. She sighed in admiration, until he dropped his boxers without hesitation, changing right in front of her. Abigail's breath hitched. God help me, she thought. He wasn't bulky, but he was all-defined muscle, a body like a gymnast, not a bodybuilder. It took everything in her not to close the distance between them. No, if I push too hard, it's over, she thought. But she had to say something. God, you look good, she rasped. You're beautiful, inside and out. Samuel turned, startled, then flushed. Abigail laughed, delighted at his reaction. The tension cracked, and soon they were both laughing. Samuel's run was longer than usual. He needed the clarity. Was he a better person with or without a wife? For an hour, as his feet pounded the dirt path, he let the question settle. Then, like lightning, the answer struck. He knew what he had to do. The next morning played out like the last, but with one key difference. Abigail wore a silk robe, loosely tied at the waist, shifting with every movement. When she reached for the coffee pot, the robe parted just enough for Samuel to realize she wore nothing underneath. His breath caught. Abigail noticed his stare and smiled, her body responding in ways she had almost forgotten. A rush of heat flooded her veins. I need a cold shower, she murmured. Otherwise, you'll be absent today without permission, and the children will see something they never wanted to witness. She kissed him, slow and deep, then hurried upstairs, leaving him standing there, torn between frustration and longing. At work, he forced himself to focus. He left early, unable to shake the memory of her teasing words, her scent, her touch. When he arrived home, Abigail was waiting, tears streaming down her cheeks. She threw herself into his arms, sobbing. You bought me flowers. You made me so happy. Samuel held her gently. They arrived early. She sniffled, nodding. I knew you were up to something. Samuel smiled. Your parents were here this morning to pick up the kids. They'll bring them home Sunday night. Abigail wiped her tears. Good, because I'm an emotional mess. Samuel smirked. But what a beautiful mess you are. She swatted his arm. You're a fool, Samuel Howard. He raised a brow. That's Mr. Fool to you. Thank you very much. She giggled, stepping back. Oh, and by the way, I ordered sushi for dinner. You're not allowed to do anything tonight, except maybe one thing by the end of the evening. That night, after a lingering dinner, they made love. The next morning, Abigail woke up sore, but completely happy. She turned, expecting to find Samuel beside her, but the bed was empty. She smirked. Of course he's up already. Slowly, she staggered into the kitchen, wrapping her arms around him from behind. Pressing herself against his back, she let her hands slide down. Samuel groaned. God, woman, you're insatiable. Are you trying to knock me out? Abigail laughed. Oh no, if you enter me now, I'll break in half. Samuel chuckled, sitting her at the table, pouring her coffee. Do you still want to move today? Abigail smirked. No, you kept your promise. You wore me out. Samuel grinned. Good. We have the whole day to ourselves. Let's make it memorable. Abigail squeezed his hand. Yes, let's. But I was thinking, what do you think about counseling? To help us reconnect? Samuel studied her, then smiled. That's a great idea. Abigail beamed. Then it's settled. A year later, on April Fool's Day, she prepared a feast. Ava peeked into the kitchen. Mom, why are you making all of Dad's favorite food? Abigail smiled. Because today isn't just April Fool's Day for us. Ava frowned. Then what is it? Abigail kissed her daughter's forehead. It's our Fool's Day, because if your dad is a fool for forgiving me, then I'm the luckiest woman in the world.